All right then. So, last session ended. You had finally managed to subdue the seeming chief of the orc warband that you believe had committed the atrocity in Conyberry. You managed to. I can't remember. Had you tied him up, or had you
We
just?
we
He was
hobbled him.
unconscious. You'd hobbled him. You'd piled it. That's right. You broke his kneecaps.
No, his ankles.
His ankles, rather. Yep. So you shattered his ankles. Um,
He miseried him.
Yeah.
um, yeah, we were pretty much mid-flow, weren't we? Rory, you were just kind of collecting yourself after taking a bit of a beating. Um, yeah, you'd tracked the orcs to this cave, taken out all of them, and captured their war chief. And I guess that's about all there is. Let's pick up there. So as you look down at this crippled, still unconscious, slightly stirring form of this large hulking orc at your feet, this guy is. I mean, Grishnak's a big guy. This guy is full blood orc. So he's not exactly taller. But he's a lot broader, a lot bulkier. He's got quite a fierce, scarred face, large jutting tusks, heavy brow. It's quite, for a lot of you, except maybe you, Godrek, it's being this close up to a full blood orc. You really can see the differences between, between full bloods and half orcs. It's quite striking. So yes, what are you doing as Oscar is rummaging through chests?
I think you look more intimidating than this fucker here. I'm going to be completely honest.
Well, I do appreciate that.
He looks like a bit of a what's it called? I forget the word.
Pansy?
I'll call him a wimp.
Aye, he does. Does look a bit like a wimp or a pansy. Aye, you can take that. Now, how are we going to do this?
How do you want to do this?
Aye, we broke his kneecaps.
Ankles.
Ply
Yeah.
information from him.
I've got some common clothes, and I still have my water skin.
We're not waterboarding him.
Oh, wait a second.
It
We're not
works.
doing that. We're just
It
not.
works.
I refuse.
Fine, bro.
I think Oscar shouted he found some treasure in the other room.
Oscar's opening up and going through the chests, kind of pulling out handfuls of coins.
How's your Scottish accent? There you go.
Shit.
Mine's really bad tonight. Did you notice? I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm drinking beer,
I
but
haven't noticed
my
it.
throat is more lubricated.
It's having the week off.
I get a simple buffer back. So,
Represent you.
I mean, I could, if we're not allowed to waterboard him,
Grishnath, what do you think?
we could stand on one of his ankles.
Well, why don't we just prop him up and wake him up? Take it there. Play it by ear.
Aye. Wait. We can do that also. Rogar,
Yes.
what about your scaly friend outside? Would he not be intimidating to an orc?
I don't know. These orcs, they strike me as people who would be more adverse to psychological tactics around honor, perhaps.
Aye, that could work.
Rogar's right.
Gonna make
don't
mental
think
note
he's-
of that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to react to pain or intimidation in that traditional sense. But perhaps being dishonored, stripped of his ability to fight, maybe that is more of a motivator than pain.
If only somebody had Zone of Truth.
I mean, I could do it in the morning. But again, we realised this last time is that he can just not talk. Like, obviously, if we had zone of truth, we'd just speak truthfully to each other. But for this orc, he could just choose to say nothing.
Torture plus
No.
zone of truth equals result.
Zone of torture.
Zone of torture. I like that.
I must agree with Rory. I would prefer not to torture for the sake of.
Was I getting the right impression? You know this orc,
I don't know this particular orc now.
but you know the big boy, King Goat.
Yeah, I do know him.
I
I wouldn't say we're on first name terms. Well,
Oh no, of course
I know.
no.
but we've definitely got past.
I just think out of all of us, you know, deal with orcs so much.
Well, Rogar hit the nail on the head, really. He's not going to be fucking scared of us. But he's going to be embarrassed. What use is an orc that can't fucking fight?
Exactly.
I think we've got the upper hand, boys.
I think we should make sure that he's secured. I know you broke some bones, but we can make sure that he can't harm any of us, and we should see what he has to say.
What if we chop off his hands as well, just to be sure?
It's a fact.
Yeah, I think we'd start with putting the manacles on him.
Yeah.
But
like manacle him.
everyone be careful, though. There's nothing more dangerous than a cornered orc.
I'll stand 20 feet back.
I will stand right next to him, hammer in two hands.
I will put on a pair of manacles, look at him, and then get out another pair and put the second pair on as well. Just, I give him like a tug. But, yeah.
So when you manacle him, are you manacling his hands in front of him or behind him?
Behind the back.
You know it.
Yep. So as you kind of Grishnak, you lift with Gortrik's help, you lift the body up somewhat so that Rogar's able to pull his arms behind his back and clamp the manacles around his wrists. You start to prop him up against the stony pillar next to you. You do notice he is starting to stir. There's kind of the flicker of the eyelids and kind of low. The head starts to lull slightly as his eyes open, begin to focus in the kind of flickering firelight of the cave.
Kneel down next to him. Wakey, wakey, sunshine.
Oh, do we get to hear Django's Cockney Orc?
Kind of head turns to guard you. Kind of tugs his arms behind his back a little bit, trying to free them. Kind of looks down at his ankles. Kind of grunts a little bit. Talks to you, Grishnak. In Orcish. What is this? Why ain't I dead?
So I want some fucking answers first.
Speak, half-breed.
I might be an half-breed, but you're the one who's fucked.
Maybe so. Maybe not.
It don't look like you're going anywhere. Anyway. Garrick.
Cow, Garak.
He's no fucking cow. He's just a fucking cunt.
I bet you wouldn't say that to his face, little boy.
Unfortunately, you won't get a chance to see that.
No, probably not. A shame. I'd enjoy watching him crush your head into a paste.
Well, speaking of crushing people's heads into paste.
Do your worst.
Well, the way I see it, we've bested you here. And I feel like it's only right to tell us what's going on. Why is Garrett coming this way? What are his plans for the region?
Takes a moment. He looks stares hard at you. He may be crippled and all of his orcs dead, but there is fire in those eyes. Looks around at the rest of you. Looks back to you. He ain't coming north. You don't care about this. Don't care about this region.
Well, why the fuck did you do what you did then?
Cow Garak has united all of the petty little tribes of the High Moor. He's got an army now, boy.
So I've heard.
Biggest you've ever seen.
But why is he moving here then?
He sent us gather as much treasure as we could.
Ah, so it's not a conquest, it's a raiding party.
For now. Yeah.
For now, no. I know. He's gonna be back. He's gonna want it all, isn't he?
One day.
So, any more raiding parties around this area?
Maybe there is, maybe there isn't.
Well, you best start fucking talking, boy.
Or
What's
you what?
It's gonna be very fucking unpleasant. Now, I know you're not afraid of dying, but there are a lot of things that we can do that are much fucking worse.
Do me an intimidation check. Okay. Yeah, there's others. A bunch of us were sent north to gather together all the little tribes living in the mountains here. We done that, and then we took them to raiding. Most of what you see here, kind of casts his head around. Fucking weaklings. Don't make these mountain boys like they make them down in Highmore, I tell you that. Where are you from, boy?
I'm from fucking Highmore.
Yeah, I thought so. You got that look about you, even for a half-breed. What's your tribe?
I don't have one anymore. But when I did, I was a blood moon.
A blood moon, was it? Yeah, you're right. You don't have one anymore. I'll say this for your lot. They were defiant and they were proud. As a good orc should be. And now they're dead. Maybe they should have had a bit more pride in their own kind. They would have understood.
They might be dead. But Garrick's on his way as well.
That's what you think. You
What
think
a fucking hell.
you think you could stand up to him? Cal Garak is the strongest orc to ever live. You ever seen him, boy?
Yes, I have.
Then you'll know. You don't even come up to his chin. How are you going to look him in the eyes?
Size doesn't matter. I've killed things bigger than him. And I'll kill bigger than him again.
empty promises.
So anyway, back on track. Where are the rest of them then?
Around.
Around's not fucking good enough, son.
Would you like me to point them out on a map?
Please do. And I pull out the map.
You can see he's a little taken aback by that. You get the impression that he might have just been being sarcastic. Kind of looks down your map and just spits right in the centre of it.
I'll just plant a note on him.
Kind of lifts his head up, chuckles to himself a little bit. Oh, that almost tickled.
Pull out my crimson dagger. Sort of flash it in his face as like, this fucking won't.
Oh, what you can do with that? Pick my teeth.
Right, I'm gonna cut off one of his ears.
Okay. He does. There's a grunt of pain.
Before I do, I'll just turn around. Rory, turn around.
There's a grunt of pain. Barely flinches.
Where did you put the knife exactly?
Shall we go 2 for 2?
Please. Then I won't have to listen to your mewling.
You're not very smart, are you? Just because you don't have an ear doesn't mean you can't hear.
Here.
The worst thing about this is that we don't understand any of this, do we?
Nope.
No, Gotrek speaks.
Do you speak Orcish, Gotrek?
No, I do not.
Oh, who speaks Orc?
I believe that was.
Ah, yeah, Rogan. I knew one of us did.
Okay, so Rogar, yeah, you can understand the exchange going on right now.
I think I'll just tap Grishnak on the shoulder and just say, and just kind of pull him over, and then in Orcish, just be like, what about the, and I point down at genitals.
Yeah.
Christ.
Well,
Don't know if that is a thing for you or I don't know.
yeah, it hurts just as much as anyone else. So, yeah, I kneel down and I just sort of hold a knife up against the genital area.
Look, what do you think I'm going to be able to tell you?
I just want you to tell me where they fucking are.
They're in the mountains.
In
If
the
then,
mountains isn't good enough. You should know. How are you staying in contact with each other?
send out runners. Look, we weren't ready to stay in contact. We came up here, we got the tribes together, we did that. We went out raiding, now we was to meet again. Back in the mountains, we all headed south together. That's where Garrick's gone.
Garrick's going south.
Yeah. Out of the Highmoor, headed south. Don't know why, it's where he wants to go. And I don't question a king.
So I turn around and just say, right boys, it looks like we're going south.
Aye.
Okay.
South where?
Turn around, to Highmoor.
Right. Fair enough. Can we leave it now?
Well, I think it's probably pertinent if we maybe stop back on the way, get some supplies, make sure we're ready for it.
I am probably best of, I'm guessing, because, has anyone actually told Gotrek what's going on?
Sorry, in regards to what?
The conversation that they've been having in Orcish, because Gotrek does not understand Orcish.
No, we can't set up.
Yeah. So what's happening is, this lot, they're a raiding party.
Aye.
So the whole point of them attacking Conyberry was just to get resources. obviously.
That's how they gather resource.
Yeah, these are fucking animals, Rory.
I'm
Why do
good
they
at them.
need treasure, though?
They're building an army.
Surely they don't need to pay them. It sounds like they are controlled by fear or honor or whatever.
Often with orcs, I believe it's often by loot or the shiny stuff. It's pretty much that. Do well, you get rewarded, I believe.
I don't
Hello.
like things that gather treasure.
The loots are going to be Garrick. The loot's going to be Garrick's. I'll go back to him. I
Sounds like a
think we
fucking
need to.
dragon.
I think we need to nip this thing in the bud, boy.
I concur.
We need to get down to Harmore and smash Garrick in his fucking face.
What do you want to do with this one?
Let him crawl back to his fucking boss.
Rogar,
Yes.
it's at this point that a familiar voice chimes inside your head. There's one. And one.
One what?
And
Cooked
one.
again?
And another. No. Green man. Big green man.
I'll go
There's
to the
another
shop.
one.
There's more outside. Traxis tells me there's more.
Oh, fucking hell.
They're
Say to
running.
The guy in Orcish. You've got backup. Who's coming?
You're fucked now.
If no one's got any adversities to this, and then Gotcha will swing the two-handed hammer and just crunk his head.
Okay. Yeah. Just one heavy splat. You just cut him off mid-laugh. It just pushes his head just down into his chest somewhat. There's only like the top bit of his head sticking out above his collarbone. And just a gurgling sound. And twitches a few times, and then stops.
Right. I wanted Grisham to do like a Batman moment. Like, where's the trigger? Where's the detonator?
Voice comes back into your head, Rogar. They are running.
We need to prep now.
They are gone.
What?
How-
They're gone?
They are
I'm
gone.
saying this out loud, like, to everyone. It's like having an open conversation. What do you mean they're gone?
I mean, they were here, and now they are not. They are gone.
Where are they going?
I did not ask them where they are going.
Can you not see where they're going? Can you fly up and see where they're going? They're heading south, north, west, east. Where are they going?
You hear kind of a... And there's nothing for a few months. They are running into the woods. Towards the mountain.
They're running into the woods. How far, Traxis, how far did they come to the cave? Did they see anything that spooked them?
I think they saw me.
I guess that's proof. I'll say out loud to everyone. They approached the cave, put down the run into the woods.
So we should run back, right?
I hear the words of pursuit and an agreement with the pursuit, because they're gonna run back to their boss, and then he'll come and probably raid Fandolin. So
Let's stop talking then. Action.
to action, and then Gotrek will start running out of the cave.
Okay, so where are you running to, Godrek?
Out of the cave and mounting on Sif.
Yeah. Okay, so Godrek's run outside and climbed on his
Okay, I
goat.
guess we're going.
I'm waiting. Just like,
Yeah,
are we going?
I'll follow suit and get on. Is it Moonin? The
I think Moonin was one you picked, yeah.
It was moving.
Moonin the boar.
While we're running, I'll just say, Grishnak, tell us what to do. We are yours to command.
What do you do with a rabid animal?
Treat it and rehabilitate it.
You put it down!
You put it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so...
High speed chase.
Ooh. There are people on the map. Okay, so you guys are going.
Sabotage.
Are you looking to pursue the orcs that just ran off?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, where were you planning on going? What was when you said pursue? What is your intent?
Well, if they've been driven off to the forest.
So,
we should
you're about here. Basically, what Taraxis has described is they've run off towards the south. Kind of. When I said forest, I kind of misspoke. Forgive me on that one. There is light tree cover around. So they've obviously where you're at the moment, you're kind of halfway up a hill. Down in the bottom, there is kind of like a copse of trees at the bottom, which is where you assume Taraxis meant where they've come out from. But running back that direction, they're running towards the start of the Sword Mountains proper. But you can't see them; they are gone.
Could we? Well, I was gonna say, could we catch up to them? Do you reckon?
You can certainly try.
I mean, I almost died again today. I don't know if I will.
How about we head back to Fandolin? We warn them. We warn the Lord's Alliance. Then we head out to. Where did you say, Krishna? Was it
Hi, more.
Highmore? We
Mhm.
kill some orcs.
Is there someone from the? Oh, we could get a message to Waterdeep. You're right. Maybe we should.
Oh wait, no, I can do that.
Okay.
Wait a second, 1 second. I need to check.
I don't think you have something prepared.
I do.
You do. Okay.
What do you want, and to who?
You need to know who you're sending it to. As in, you need to have met them.
I thought it was if they can describe it to me, I can send it.
No, it's got to be someone you're familiar with.
Oh,
I don't think a description recuts it.
What about Sildar?
yes. Could be so though.
Yeah,
Preemptively
you
let
could
know.
you could send to Sildar.
Right, we have 25 words, if I remember correctly.
That is correct.
Okay. What shall I say?
Want to use my calligraphy tool to track and
Hi,
write.
Silda. How are you? I'm good.
I am not doing a jester. I will be concise.
You pooping? That's normally how she signs off.
Something like orcs attack Conyberry. They're heading towards blank.
Yeah.
It may target Fandolin. They saw us. Can we
Sildar.
respond to this message?
Gotrek here. Orc raiders have attacked Conyberry. Possible retaliation to Fandolin. Warn the Lord's Alliance.
Kisses.
They're in the High Moor.
They're coming from Highmore. Well, I think this group will probably be going back to regroup with the main body.
They're gonna know we're here, and they're gonna know we have Taraxis.
Yeah.
Requesting backup.
Basically.
Very much.
Okay, that's
25.
the message you're sending?
Yeah.
Okay, so a few moments later, you do get a reply. Gotrek. Yes, we know. We're on our way there to investigate now. Where are you? Are you near Conyberry? And silence. Get an impression he might not be the most familiar with the spell.
Aye, by the way, I'm out now. We can't do that till tomorrow.
Okay, well let's go.
Okay, so you're returning back to.
Fandolin.
Going back to Fandolin. Are you going straight back to Fandolin, or are you going back via Conyberry?
We'll go back via Conyberry just so that we can possibly meet Sildar on the way, just in case he's come up against any issues.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can let Agatha know that we're gonna get them. Oh, I didn't tell you. Yeah, Agatha's fine, but she actually kept Abigail safe in her lair. But I promised her that we'd do what we can to make that so.
You cut out a little bit there, but I'm assuming you're saying you did do what you could to make sure it wouldn't happen again. I seem to remember that being the promise you made to her.
Mhm.
Okay. And you're leaving. You're just leaving the cave.
Are we taking the stuff? Are we going through the? Did we loot? Basically?
You hadn't looted, no.
Well,
Oscar was in the process of like going through some of the chests while you were
Yeah.
interrogating the guy.
Did our resident magpie find anything?
Yeah, so anyone who wants to assist in the looting can do me an investigation check.
Let's do this shit.
Bear in mind, it will. The mound is quite large. Oh wow! No, okay. So, Cal, you're helping out. So this does take a little while. It's kind of going through everything. So essentially, there's the two chests that you and Oscar found. Both were unlocked, and they seem to be brimming with coins, mostly copper, but you could see a few silver and a few gold in there, scattered about. And then there's a large mound of coins in the centre. Around it, nearby there is another open but empty chest, and there's various sacks that you'd think the orcs might have been in the process of trying to count this themselves when you interrupted them. It does take you. I mean, do you guys want to take the time to count it?
Count it on the way back.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest.
Chest or in a bag.
Okay, so
We have the battered chest in the group loot. Is that big enough to put some of this in?
you've been carrying a battered chest around with you.
It's on the wagon.
It is on the wagon. It is on the wagon.
So
By the
you
way,
can-
brilliance there, but
With your nat 20 on your investigation there, so without actually counting out exactly the coinage, you estimate that there is somewhere in the region of possibly around 6,000 coins,
I imagine there to be about
Um,
6,000 coins, boy.
various gems and etc. And
Some platinum.
some platinum that you can see, definitely.
Use
Yep,
the
various gems.
It's blood money.
While you're looking around, Cal, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, how are we gonna transport all of this? How are we gonna get this back? And you're looking there, there are these various kind of hemp and hessian sacks lying around that obviously initially contained a lot of this gold, a lot of this loot. You notice that actually just a little away from the mound, around about up here, near the body of one of the shamans, there is a smaller bag that has whereas the other ones are kind of these rough sacks, this one is more, it's a bit more elaborate, a bit odd looking, seems a bit out of place. You open up and initially it seems to be empty. As you pick it up, there's no weight to it. It doesn't seem to contain anything, but opening it up and looking inside, there's almost like this weird optical illusion. Looking in, you can't really see anything. There's almost like a void within.
What's that you got, brother?
Looking into the sack, I'm like, I don't know. It looks empty. It feels empty, but not convinced.
Right, if you'll allow me, brother.
Right.
And I shall identify.
Yeah, this is a bag of holding.
This is a bag of holding.
What's that?
There's gonna be what's inside.
Are you tipping it inside out?
That doesn't destroy the bag. If I
No, it simply jettisons the contents.
Try and get in the bag.
put it inside out.
So you turn it inside out, nothing. You get the impression this has already been done. Yeah, nothing is immediately ejected when you do this. So what you can put in the bag is kind of limited by what you can fit in the bag. And this is kind of, this is more like a shoulder, like satchel size thing. You
So
couldn't fit a person in it.
That the 3 squares worth of gold coins / copper / shit isn't going to fit in there.
Well, no, here's the thing, because you can't put an individual thing in that is too big to fit in, like, through the opening of the bag, if that makes sense.
Okay, so we can just scoop all of that loot into that bag.
For the sake of being a little bit meta, just so you guys know what this can hold, I did the calculations earlier. This bag of holding could hold 25,000 coins.
scooping.
Okay. So yeah, you spend a bit of time just handfuls, like as big handfuls as you can, just heaping handfuls into the bag. Roger, I'm seeing that you're going out to the front to keep watch.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have been present for any of this. So I'm just
Okay.
in front, saddling
I've
up.
Yeah, you've got 2 tokens out in the field at the moment, Cal.
I'm just like, yeah, where have I got 2 tokens?
Well, one is your new token and one is your old.
Quite as hard.
We can get rid of your old token if you ever want to use that one again for any reason. I do still have it in the art library, but
Unless we're gonna have a session where we go back in time, or dream. I don't
no,
give a shit.
that's fine. Happy with your new flaming token. Okay, so Rogar goes to keep watch while the rest of you kind of hurriedly heaping handfuls, various coins, a few gems into this bag until, yeah, looking around, you believe you've got all of it.
Just say to people, don't be too excited about all of this. We're not keeping any of this.
We'll donate it to the local orphanage.
Yes.
Slash.
It should
buy
go
some
to rebuilding
mercenaries
Conyberry.
to stop the orcs
Exactly.
killing people.
Rebuild Conyberry.
So that takes you. I'd say it probably takes you a couple of hours or so to do that. There's quite a lot of it, even taking big handfuls.
We've got an orc man.
Yeah, but it's not like an enormous container that you can all stand around constantly dumping into. You know, it's one person holds it. I need to work on my phrasing. Okay. So after a bit of time spent gathering it all together, double checking, making sure you've got everything. I mean, it does seem that that's more or less it, unless you're interested in the rough weaponry and armor that most of these orcs were carrying.
To be fair,
Does Gotrek
in the
need any scrap?
interest of
I do.
metal for Gotrek,
I do, but we don't have the wagon.
you don't need the wagon.
We have tracks.
Got a bag of holding?
You got a bag of holding that theoretically
Okay.
weapons.
If it's smaller bits, yeah. We can
Armor, yeah, armor may be too big, but certainly weapons we can get in the bag.
Oh, I don't want that.
Who's going to be in charge of the bag of holding?
Clearly me.
I mean, I'm always away from
Finders,
maybe I should.
keepers.
I mean, how much is this bag of holding gonna weigh? Is it like...
So bags of holding, they can hold 500 pounds.
And that
Does
won't...
it weigh 500 pounds?
Well, does it actually account for 500 pounds of weight to the carrier as well?
No, so it. God, what would a bag of holding weigh? I mean, we're talking less than a pound. You know, it just weighs what the bag itself weighs, not including the contents.
Oh, it doesn't matter who carries it then?
No, anyone can carry it. It's not going to weigh you down. You should now have a bag of holding in the handouts. And at an appropriate point, I will tell you exactly how much shit you've got in there. So, by the time you're done, it's around about, I'd say it's probably around about midnight. So are you setting off immediately, or what's your plan?
How long will it take to get back, roughly?
Took you a couple of days to get out here.
It take what, sorry?
Took a few days, didn't it?
Yeah, it was about 2 days for you to get from Conyberry to here.
Okay,
I
so
think we need to move away from the cave and then maybe.
Yeah, I'd
make
rather
camp.
not sleep around all the
there's
Corpse
beds in
party.
the cave.
Okay. Okay, so
Better off moving and then making camp
Agreed.
in case they return.
Okay, we don't find Butthead.
okay. Hang on, we'll go back to the.
Oh, the pleasure, the pure pleasure.
I play D&D with adults. So, bearing in mind that the point you guys got to this cave, at the point you reached Wyvern Tor, you were all, a couple of you were approaching exhaustion from all the travels.
I
Oh,
had
You still hadn't, yeah, I believe, Rory, you
Me
also
too.
had an exhaustion point.
indeed.
So obviously the more you guys travel,
Yeah, boy.
the more and more you're all going to be risking exhaustion.
So maybe Oscar pops his tent of awesome for us all to sleep safely.
He
While we're in the
can't.
cave.
That's a level
Damn it,
3
Oscar.
spell, and he
One
used
job.
2 invisibilities.
But I thought that was a ritual.
Let me
Limit
check.
that as a ritual.
Yeah, you can cast it as a ritual, I think.
I will double check. Yes, it is. You are correct. Okay. So basically, how far do you want to travel from Wyvern Tor before trying to settle down?
Mine.
I say a mile should be plenty if we go a mile from in the general direction of home.
Okay, so a mile back towards Conyberry. So you head north for a mile. You are all starting to really feel the night's exertion. The fight was short, but pretty intensive. You travel about a mile. You find yourself. What kind of site are you looking for? Are you looking for a hilltop? Are you looking for a secluded, kind of like covered valley?
To be honest, a tree line would be fine with a clearing, so we can pop it in the middle.
Off the beaten track a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so you find a spot that more or less fits that. You are just at the base of a couple of hills, a little bit of a river running through, but while there's some trees to your back, you've got quite a clear view to the south for a fair way. Oscar ritual casts, pops up the hut. All of you gather inside. Is there anyone keeping watch? Or are you all just resting?
We should have one.
Yeah, I think
I'll
if me and
take
Rory take first watch because we're exhausted, and then we can have a longer sleep, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take second watch.
I'll take last.
Yeah, I'll take second watch with Krishnak as well.
Oh, can I have also have picked up my used javelins on the way out of the cave?
I assume that you guys recollect any,
Yeah.
gather up any of your expended shit like that.
Pulled them out of some corpses.
Okay. So first watch, Cal and Ruri.
Before we do watch, I need to Krishnak real quick.
Yeah.
Krishnak, just so you know, I don't want to get involved because it's clearly very personal, but in the future, if things go your way, before you chop someone's ear off, I can attempt to charm them for you. I don't do it often because I don't like taking over people's minds, but in certain cases, I don't mind doing that if you need.
Well, if you'd have mentioned it at the time.
I had no clue what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll have to see next time.
Yeah. No, I'll catch you next time.
Not wanting to get involved with any kind of meta commentary, but he makes a good point, Grishnak. Okay.
I didn't know Rory could charm people.
That's also a good point. Okay, so first watch, Rory and
Cal.
Cal. Yep. Cal, you also make your perception check. So okay, Cal,
you did mine at 20 tonight.
you have.
0 investigation.
You're feeling pretty tired as well. You're quite knackered. In fact, actually, both of those should be at disadvantage because you are both exhausted.
I feel that mine will be at disadvantage. No, it won't.
Okay, so 10. Rory?
Yeah, that was a good idea to get us to go.
Oh wow, okay. So yeah, Cal, you're able to keep yourself awake through your watch, and you're doing your best to stay alert, but you're kind of you're on robot mode. You're just scanning left to right. You don't see anything particular. Ruri, towards the end of your watch, you see a bit of a glow to the south that starts further up in the mountain line and seems to be moving down the mountainside, getting closer. It's a bit of a misty night, so it's hard to be precise, but there definitely seems to be...
Carl, can you see that?
What? Where am I looking?
There's a light coming down a mountain to the south.
Which way south? Oh, yeah.
I turn him around, man.
Squinting hard, you can kind of make it out. It's that tricky thing, though. It's that, you know, when you're really, really tired, and you start squinting, and it's a little bit too close to closing your eyes. So you can't see quite as clearly as Rory can, but yeah, he's not imagining this. There's...
Probably just a campfire. Maybe someone...
Campfires don't move.
Make a point.
Does look quite far away. I think we should be fine for the night, but we should definitely make the others aware.
Maybe we could wake Rogar and send... I forgot his flapper's name. I'm that
Taraxis?
tired. That's the one.
Dave.
Yeah, send Dave after it. I mean, send Taraxis to have a look.
I mean, I suppose they are already going to know that we have it. Let him sleep. Tell him on it.
Okay. It is very near the end of your watch. If there's anything else you wanted to do, or move on to the next watch.
At this point, there are not matchsticks strong enough to keep Cal's eyes open, and he sort of just wanders into the tent. Kicks. Go-Trek was next, I think.
Rogar and Grishnek were next, I
Grishnak,
believe.
Okay, well, I'll wake Go-Trek by mistake.
Well,
And then just fall over and sleep.
Okay, so coming to the end of your watch, Rory, you step over the collapsed and snoring form of Cal to wake Rogar and Grishnek for their watch.
Yep, yeah. Grish, go, Rogar. Look at the mountain there, to the south, and I point. It's been coming closer while we've been on watch. I think, well, Cal thought you should send Taraxis ahead. I don't know what you think, Rogar, but something to keep an eye.
I will. We'll see how the night goes. I would not want to leave Krishna here alone on watch, but we will see.
If you do excuse me, I am exhausted.
Go to sleep.
Get some rest, son.
Okay, so Rogar and Grishnek, do your perception checks.
Get ready for a one. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Roller.
Okay,
Can you go?
so yeah, you think you can see what Rue was talking about. Grishnak, you're not sure. Rogar, you can see because he pointed out to you.
Okay. Do I see it moving at all? Is it?
It's one of those things you're watching something for a long time, and it's that thing of you going, is it actually moving, or is that just my eyes playing trick on me because I've been staring at the same thing for so long? But towards the end of your watch, you do feel like it's closer than it was. Like the glow initially, it was when Rory pointed out to you, seemed to be very much like at the base of the mountain, whereas now it seems to be. Actually, yeah, there's a point where the tree line along the bottom of the mountains. So at the start of your watch, when Rory pointed it out, you could see this glow at the base of the mountains. Shortly into your watch, it actually disappeared. And with maybe less than an hour left on your watch, it does appear again. This time it's on the other side of the wood of the tree line.
How far? Could I judge how far away it is roughly?
No, a few miles.
make sure Grishnak is aware of it.
Okay. As you turn to Grishnak, he's awake. His eyes are open. But he seems to be staring off into the middle distance a little bit. Not very focused. Grishnak. Around this, shortly before this point in your watch, you're kind of mulling over the events of the evening, of what you learned, kind of revisiting old memories. There's a point where you look up and you realise that the world around you seems to have taken on an odd kind of purplish tinge, like a filter that's been placed over everything. There's a noise behind you, cracking of branches of underfoot from the tree line. Turning, you see a large grizzled bear with a scar over an empty eye socket, padding out from the trees towards you.
It's you then.
As the bear gets closer, kind of stands up, rears up back onto its hind legs before you. And then there's a weird, almost optical illusion moment where for a moment it is both the bear and that of an orcish form. Though not quite the same as the orc you dealt with earlier. This orcish form is definitely not half-orc, but it's almost a bit nobler than a lot of the more, pardon the expression, savage orcs that you see. Stands tall, not hunched, shoulders back, chest pushed out, chin held high. And it does, for a moment it kind of inhabits the same space as the bear. It is both the bear and this form, and then the bear form is gone. And before you, this figure, you know who it is. This is Grumsh, appearing before you in his earthly avatar form. Grishnak.
Yeah, what can I do for you?
Ever insolent, ever reckless, headstrong, and foolhardy.
Looks like you know me well.
His shoulders sag. I need your help.
You need my help?
Do not mock me. This is true.
It's just last time we spoke, you give it a big high and mighty. Now you're asking me for help.
Things have changed.
Go on then.
Garak steals my children from me, leads them from their path. They forget me.
Well, it seems like it's your lucky day. Because I've got a plan to fucking kill Garak anyway.
Yes, I know. It is not enough to just kill him. He leads them astray, tempts them with power not of my giving. You must show them the strength of Grumsh.
I think we've got a problem there.
How so?
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm the most pious of people, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm one of your worshippers now.
Maybe not. But you understand what it means to be an orc. You remember that night in Waterdeep when you bought your freedom by ripping out that man's throat with your teeth. You understand what it is to be caged, to fight for your freedom. You may not worship me in thoughts, but you venerate me with your actions.
If you say so. Well, they're certainly going to see their cow get a nice kicking. That's probably going to do the job.
He kind of regards you for a while, head cocked to one side. What would you ask of me, Grishnak? What would I have to give you to make you see?
I don't want fuck all from you, fella.
Everybody wants something.
I'd like to know something.
Ask.
My mother, is she still alive?
He looks at you kind of curiously, looks up at the sky. His eyes kind of go an odd, sorry, his eye rather. Looks distant for a moment. She lives. He has her.
Well, that's all the drive I need then. Obviously, if you've got anything you think can help, I'm all ears.
Garak is strong. Stronger, maybe, than you. He draws power from a place unholy.
Unholy. Like what?
Long he thought to masquerade as one of my chosen. Claimed I spoke to him. I never did. He is without honor. Not like you. But now he has found a new patron.
Who?
Now he dallies with the Queen of Dragons. And he leads my children into her clutches.
This Dragon Queen. Got a name?
Many,
Any that I'd know?
most know her as Tiamat.
Like Krishna just looks a little bit stunned. Alright. guess it is quite serious, this then.
Do this for me, and I will give you the power you need. What little I have left to give.
Well, I can't say that we see eye to eye. Pardon the pun. But, I feel like we do need to work together in regards to this.
It is so.
I'll do what you ask. But this doesn't mean that I'm your puppet.
I do not ask for puppets. An orc should be their own person.
Well, I'm glad we're on the same page.
But I do need observance. I do not wish to become a memory.
We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it.
I have your word.
Yes.
Then you have mine. He holds his hand out.
I grudgingly, slowly put my hand into his, grip it.
It's strange feeling. It's that I was about to describe it then with. Okay. It's odd. You place your hand in his, and he appears at the moment only marginally bigger than yourself. And your hand only a little bit smaller than his, but it feels. Although you can look down, you can see the size of your hand to his. It's comparable. There's this strange feeling of vastness when you connect. He looks down at you. Kind of grimace. It's bizarre seeing an expression kind of this close to worry on the face of something so powerful. There is definitely concern. We will talk again before this is over.
I'm sure we will.
Understand, Gushnak. I'm not asking you to do this tomorrow, nor the day after. Do not run to your death. You seem to have grown in this company.
I'm not stupid. I know that I can't take him on by myself.
Not yet. Maybe one day. Maybe soon.
Very soon, I think.
Maybe with the help of these mortals, and with what boons I can grant you.
It's interesting, isn't it?
What?
Last time we spoke, you were so confident that I didn't need anyone else. And look where we are now.
My perspective has changed.
Like I said to you a long time ago, there's more than one way to obtain power.
And more than one way to keep it.
Exactly.
He leans in very close to you. But I could still crush you like a bug.
You could,
He grins.
but then where would that leave you? A forgotten god,
A
fading
voice.
away, day by day.
He kind of shudders slightly. A voice on the wind, as so many before. No. That will not be my fate. Destroy Garak. Show them the true way of an orc.
You don't need to tell me twice, sunshine.
Very well. Releases your hand, steps back, nods, and turns. As he walks away, shifts back into that bear form, disappears into the tree line. And that strange purple filter fades. Shake your head and suddenly all the sounds of the night come back again.
Grishnak.
Oh,
Oh.
fuck.
I'm not waving my hand in front of your face. You okay?
Rogar.
You were gone there for a second.
I don't know if you're gonna believe me, but I've had a vision.
Pray tell.
Groosh. He speaks to me now and again.
You've mentioned before, yes.
He's just spoken to me and wearing some shit, boy.
Oh, why? Why'd you say that?
So Garrick, it's more complicated than we first thought. His power, the reason why he's mobilizing, he serves something else, something worse.
Did he tell you what? Who?
He did, yeah. It's fucking Tiamat.
Rogar drops whatever's in his hand.
It's hard for a white dragonborn to go pale. But for a second you feel like Rogar's just managed it.
I seen shit that'll turn you white. Are you sure?
Well, I know Grump, she's a bit of a twat, but he's not a liar. Not that I think about anyway. I don't think he'd be pulling my chain on this one.
The treasure hoarding, I knew, is something unusual. That chromatic whore bitch.
Yeah, well, it seems like you're as invested as I am.
They have to die. They all have to die.
Couldn't agree more. We're probably going to have to brief the rest of the boys about this.
This is disturbing. I believe I have also... No. Perhaps another time.
What?
I have had some visions myself recently. I do not know if they are connected.
Your vision? What were they?
A prison. Darkness, chains, lashing out. And nothing. It may be something else. I will pray on this and see if I can garner any more information.
Definitely.
Fuck.
Have you seen the light that's coming towards us?
Yes, it reappeared. That's why I came over. It's a couple of miles away from us, and yes, we need to get back to Vandalin.
I agree. You'll need to make the Lord's Alliance aware of this.
Yeah, yes, and I may have people I need to make aware of this as well. This is grave news. What time is it? Roughly.
You're approaching dawn. It was somewhere
We need to look
between
at this.
midnight and like 1 a.m. ish when you guys settle down to rest. And you're about coming up for 6 hours into your 8 hours of long rest.
We need to let the others sleep, but we need to move and we need to mobilize quickly. We may not be coming back to Fandolin anytime soon.
I agree. But we do need to be well rested.
Agreed. I think I just settled down, have a little perch.
Yeah, it's coming to the end of your watch. You waking Gortrek and, well, it really is just Gortrek for his watch, since Oscar would need to remain within the tent. Okay,
I'll
so
gently wake up Godric.
Gortrek, you're awoken for the second time. This time to actually take your watch.
Do we brief Gotrek on everything now, or...?
I think we should wait until everybody is awake. There will be lots of questions.
You've got a point. No point troubling everyone else's sleep.
Yes.
I'm assuming you do point out the glow on the horizon that you've been monitoring, though, which is starting to get harder to spot as as dawn approaches, as the sky begins to lighten.
Yeah, I think I'd let Gortrek know, but it's like kind of very vague information because he's kind of really bothered that, you know.
Okay,
mention of Tiamat.
so you do, Gortrek. You get
Ruined
this.
his day.
You get this kind of vague, slightly garbled, a little bit overtired kind of. There's a light. It is coming towards us. Keep an eye on it.
Right.
Uh,
That way. Or that way. Which way?
I said
Kind of
yes.
just-
That way or that way? Yes.
so
Right.
There. A vague arm movements in the general direction.
Just gonna put my hand on his arm. You definitely need some rest. Off you go, chap.
Thank you.
So Gortrek, do me a perception check as your watch begins. Okay.
Guidance.
Yeah, you can guidance yourself. Add that d4. Okay, so 17. Yeah, you're able to. Well, Rogar is vague. You're aware of what's going on, of what the situation is, and you're pretty sure that he's talking about the south. So you watch, and you do. It's actually light. The sun is beginning to rise as your watch starts. So the glow kind of quickly quickly disappears in that morning light. But you keep your eyes out, and you keep your ears out, and your watch passes uneventfully. But towards the end of it, you can hear footfalls. Not close, still fairly distant, but loud. Whoever's out there, there's a lot of them.
Just gonna take a puff.
And they're moving quickly.
Shit.
And they're coming your way.
Right. Gonna saddle up Sif. Gonna saddle up everyone else's mount.
Yep. Let's go around getting everything prepped.
Make sure everything's cleared. Just if we had a fire, gonna sit out the fire so it doesn't look like we're just gonna look like a crap mound kind of thing. And then as I take one last puff, I think it might be time to move, lads. Wakey, 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 wakey.
Oh, you smoking the pipe? Can I have some?
Aye, yes, you best have that. You're gonna need some courage. By the sounds of it, we've got a small army of something heading our way. So we probably best get moving
Yes, I agree completely.
now. Like, just looking in the direction. I'd say we've got about 15 minutes, maybe less.
At this point, all of you who are waking up and kind of come to senses, and you do all now have the benefit of a long rest. Anyone who had exhaustion, clear it. You can hear this. There's a lot of heavy footfalls.
When you say a lot, would we be able to, like, estimate? a
Do me
number?
a survival check.
I'm really
All
good
of
at
us
this
or
as well.
just
As you do the old, just Krishnak, you do the old putting your ear to the floor. You can guidance this, yeah.
Guidance.
Add that d4. Okay, so another 17. Whew, yeah. It's hard to get a precise number. Just from the nature of this, you know, you're doing that whole kind of like tracking thing, putting your ear to the ground and trying to get a sense through the vibrations. Dozens. Some of the footfalls are very heavy. And they're all moving quite rapidly.
Well, boys, I know we're a pretty tough group, but I think there's a few too many Freemaners to deal with. I think the best bet is to fuck off.
We can't let them know where we're going yet.
Do you want me to take Traxxas up and see if I can see what they are?
What if they shoot you down? I don't think this is a good idea.
I've got an idea. Why don't you? Can Taraxis? Does it have a breath weapon or anything like that?
No.
No.
Oh shit! I was thinking it could cause some sort of distraction to set fire to the tree line to the east.
I've got a plan if you want to hear it.
I'm all ears.
If they're heading this way, Calibre, if I could borrow your goat, if you mount up with Grishnak or with Rogar, I'll lead the goats away in another direction and circle back around, and I'll meet you back in Fandolin. We'll try to scuff our tracks as much as possible. No? Terrible idea?
Well, I mean,
I thought it was quite good, mind you.
stay together.
wouldn't we better just running off together?
We should go together. I can stealth us. We can hide as much as possible. Like me and stealth.
Oh, wait,
Grishnak.
have you got any trees around?
There are a few trees nearby. Grishnak, you know enough, your own experience growing up in Highmore, your own skill as a tracker. It would take, given how many of your party, you know, are in heavy armor, are not particularly skilled when it comes to masking their trail, etc., the likelihood of Gortrik's plan working, while not a bad plan, the likelihood of it fooling them, it's not great.
I don't think they're gonna fall for it, Gotrek, if I'm honest.
Ah, shit. Fair enough.
Time
What
is
if-
of the essence.
Another plan, quickly. If we chop up the branches off the trees, we have them behind us to scuff them up. So they can't track us.
They can.
Yeah, I'll just track
Oh,
the
fuck.
scuffs.
Fuck it then, let's go.
Let's just go.
Okay.
I'll pass without trace, everyone.
How
So you're mounting up
dry is the ground at this point?
pretty dry,
Burn it.
and they can follow the scorch marks instead.
I don't want to burn.
I mean, when
Big burn patch, just burn the whole lot.
the thing is, if once we make it to the road, they're not probably going to be able to follow us because we're not going to leave many tracks once we're travelling on there. It's just through the woods that they're going to be able to.
Didn't you talk to Sildar?
Aye, I did. And talking of that, I can send another message if you want.
Ask his location, perhaps.
Okay.
The-
I've only got 2 uses of this.
Noise in the distance is getting louder.
Let's mount up and actually get moving.
Let's leave first. Yes, onwards. I was going to say.
So you're fleeing. So we are now going to enter a skill challenge
Ah,
as you guys attempt to outrun this force that is pursuing you.
Like a gauntlet.
Essentially, so for any of you who don't know how these work, you each can you get to suggest various abilities. For example, you might say survival to try and find some way of finding a shortcut. You can suggest various ways in which you propose to help escape these pursuers. Depending on what you suggest and how you describe how you want it to work, if I think it's feasible, I'll mentally set a DC. You roll for it, and you need 3 successes. If you fail 4 times before you succeed 3 times, they are going to catch up with you. And what happens then? We shall see.
another time.
Not necessarily, but it might get hairy.
Fun time.
Okay.
Now, each of you can only perform a certain thing once. So, for example, if one of you did survival, you can't then do another survival. You can do each thing one time.
Is that
But sorry,
one time each or
one time each.
Cool.
Can I use guidance on things like that?
In this case, I'm going to say no,
Ah, shit.
because of how this is going to work. I might make an exception in the moment based on what you're suggesting and whether I think it would be appropriate. But otherwise, we'll see. Rory, you're casting Pass Without Trace.
Yeah.
So depending on what gets proposed, that might give you an advantage on the roll.
Wonderful. Just
So, as you mount up, doing starting to kick over the ashes of where you had your fire, starting to try and, is there anything we can do to mask where we were resting last night? You quickly decide with the noise getting louder, fuck it, no point, let's just go. So you set off, I'm guessing at high speed to the north. Who wants to start? Who wants to make the first attempt?
Balls, I'll do it. Gotthric offers tribute. Okay. Can we so if there's obviously forests and stuff like that.
There are little copses of trees here and there.
Rolling hills, anything like that.
It's mostly rolling hills, yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, the further north you get towards Conyberry, because you're around about here in the hills. So obviously, the further you get out of the hills, heading in that direction, the less dramatic the hills are.
Should we fan out and try and conceal us? Not with a couple foot spacing, maybe.
You can do. What kind of skill check or ability check you proposing to try and?
Athletics, probably. Absolutely bolt it.
Okay, so you're proposing just athletics, just full on.
Yeah,
Full on
sprint
speed.
as fast as we can for as quick as we can to gain as much distance as possible. Because if it is just rolling hills, barely any trees, they're going to spot us quick anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no point in hiding behind a tree or hiding. It's just literally.
Okay, so drawing on your own athleticism and your experience in of forced marches during the military and everything, you try and kind of gear everyone up. The training the time you spent training the goats, for example, and Moonin, you just try and get as fast a pace as possible out of everyone. Do me an athletics check, please.
Oh, fuck.
Okay,
Can I
that's
guidance that? I can't guidance that.
no, I'm afraid you can't. That's
Bollocks,
one
even
failure.
That's a +9 as
You got
well.
a
That
5.
fucking sucks.
You try, while you can make a good pace, looking back, and Moonin in particular, Moonin was trained for dragging a wagon, not for like long bursts of speed. And while you're initially able to kind of get everyone moving, you notice quite quickly starting to lag behind. You yourself could easily break off ahead, but you'd be leaving some of your less athletic party behind. You do get the feeling that this force is gaining on you.
Okay.
That's first failure.
Can
Sorry,
Godric
Gotrek.
drop back to the end of the column kind of thing?
Yeah, you can be travelling at the back.
Yeah, because he's heavily armoured.
Okay.
I'm going to, if possible, I'm going to try and be as cool as I can. Reverse saddle kind of thing, just sit in the back.
Okay, you're just trying to keep an eye behind you.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So, who's next? Who wants to try something next?
I can get my silly one out of the way first.
What do you want to try?
So, my two best skills are charisma and wisdom. I don't think charisma will be very useful in this.
Probably not.
So, I would like to make an animal handling check
Okay.
to see if I can use my bard magic to convince a herd of goats to stampede the orcs.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah, you like that?
Okay.
Goat whisperer.
So you want
I'm
to?
going to do insight to see where they're going to...
Okay. So you want to try? There are a few wild goats around here and there. You want to try and get some to just kind of head into the path of and obfuscate
Yeah,
your
basically turning them
pursuers.
to their death, I suppose, but
Possibly.
possibly, but like, I'm like Snow White, you know? Like, let's go.
I mean, trying to convince otherwise wild goats to en masse stampede in a given direction using your charm, essentially. I'm not saying like literally the charm spell, but you're kind of leaning that way.
Just because I'm going to be gone, so it's in...
All right. Okay.
It's going to be a high DC. That
It
one.
is going to be a higher DC,
It's my silly one, you know.
but give it a shot. So do me an animal handling check, please. You spend several minutes. You spot some as you're traveling. You spot some goats stood on the side of a hill, kind of like watching as you go past. You kind of quickly ride over to one. You spend a few minutes staring at this, talking to these goats before the others go like, "Rory, come on!" This goat just staring blankly at you.
Bah,
Oh, well, meh, to you too, buddy. Oh, no.
bah.
And as you ride off over the next hill, a goat turns to his friend next to him. Who the fuck was that? I have no idea. What was he going on about? Sorry. Okay. That's 2 failures. You're off to a great start. Who's up next?
I think I'll step up.
What do you want to try?
Seeing that they're gaining on us, right? It's obvious.
Slowly but surely you get the sense that, yeah, they're getting closer.
I would like to, without asking permission, take off and peel away, doubling back but heading like sideways. So if we're traveling north or south.
You're heading north-northwestish.
So I will travel kind of southwest and get Traxxas to make as much noise as possible, potentially using intimidation,
Okay.
roar, and maybe put them off,
Okay.
or draw them towards me, depending on the reaction.
Okay, do me an intimidation check.
Hey,
Okay.
big boy.
So,
Big dragon boy?
2 things in this. As you fly up, as you get higher, you see what is pursuing you. There's a lot of them. At a quick count, I mean, dozens is accurate. You think there could be anywhere between maybe 50 to 80. Mostly orcs. You do see a few large lumbering shapes that probably are ogres. It's a little tricky to tell from this height. Several other shapes that they're not quite as big and bulky as the ogres, but they're taller than the orcs, and they move with this odd shambling gait that is deceptively quick. And there is about a dozen of these figures. They seem to be out a little bit ahead of the main body of orcs that are... These things are sprinting. You've seen that, you know, think the Lord of the Rings at start of Two Towers, you know, they are going for it. But as you fly past, going slightly parallel to them, and you just have Tyraxes just start letting out a series of ear-splitting roars and screeches. You do notice the bulk of the group kind of stops, and there's a lot of pointing. There seems to be quite a bit of hesitation, some possible discussion going on down there. So there's a bit of uncertainty, and they seem to have slowed, at least for the moment. And Traxxas kind of turns his head back slightly to you as you flood. Like that, was that good, yes?
Perfect. I think it's working.
Then I shall roar again. And he just carries on roaring. As you, after a little while of this, you loop back round to the group, but you seem to have slowed them. And while your friends have just carried on at full speed, you think you might have bought some time.
Hooray!
Okay, so that's a success. Who wants to go next?
I'm gonna attempt to knock down the biggest tree I can to sort of block the path for him.
Okay, so
Athletics check, I'm assuming.
yeah, athletics will do. So you're planning. I mean, as you're following certain tracks are easier to follow than others. Particularly, you think of a large group of people. So you're thinking as you're coming up through this valley, through this rise, up side one hill. You're thinking maybe if you block this approach, then maybe they'll have to take a slightly longer way to get around with their numbers, with how many there are. So yeah, go ahead and make me an athletics check.
Come on.
You go look with the adrenaline pumping through you, and kind of size up the kind of quite a large tree. Just lay into it with your axe, and after a few strokes, it begins to sag, begins to buckle, and you just get your full force behind it and shunt it, like body slam it as it goes down. Calling Gortrek over, give you a hand, and both of you with your heft kind of manage to drag it and haul it and lay it across the bed of this valley behind you. As you ride off to catch up with the others, you feel confident that this will have done something to slow them, to impede their progress. Okay, that's 2 successes and 2 failures. You need 1 more success.
Oh.
Who's next?
See, mine was going to be a Kossuth-based religion check to see if he could just spare us, and I'll commit myself even more to his cause. Just set fire to those motherfuckers that are still chasing us. Not sure that's a good idea that we only need 1 success.
Well, it would require you dropping back far enough to be within range of this. I'm not saying it wouldn't work.
He's a speedy boy.
I could do a stealth check for the third one, plus 10.
It's up to you.
Try and find us. It's up to you, Cal. If you want to try your thing, you haven't gone yet, so.
I'm up for it. I'm also not up for dying.
Yeah.
Well, because bear in mind, obviously, you're on 2 failures. You need 4 before they catch up with you. So if you were to fail at this, I'm not saying that they would then just catch up with you and kill you. You want to try... Okay. So so you're going to probably need to put yourself in view of these guys. You're going to drop behind the rest of your party as these... You don't feel like any have actually stopped chasing. It's just they have been slowed slightly.
Okay.
So what exactly would you like to try and do?
So, obviously, having had 2 encounters with the glorious Kossuth, I feel that the opportunity to feed the flame with a massive party of orcs would be a tempting enough offering for him to come and help us, and that effectively by offering, effectively, if he doesn't want to come, offering myself as a sacrifice to him to get him to come down, because he feels I'm important enough to brand me. I feel that he'll feel I'm important enough to save in the face of danger.
Okay.
Putting my faith in a guy that literally made me burn my face off.
Okay.
That's legitimately where I am with this. I feel that my commitment to him as a disciple is heavy enough a burden on his soul that he would save me in the face of that much danger. I'm going to roll a nat 1.
I like what you're going for. So I can see kind of two main ways that you might go about this then. So you could either like hurl a fireball at the pursuers and try and torch them, or you could essentially surround yourself with fire and attempt to kind of intimidate more in that way. Which sort of approach are you going for?
How far away from that tree are we?
What, from the one that that Grishnek used to block the? I mean, you're currently fleeing from it.
Okay.
It's
So
probably about
I'm gonna
240 feet behind you.
I'm going to run back to the tree.
Okay.
I'm going to set that tree on fire,
Okay.
and I'm going to plant a flaming sphere the other side of the tree for the party to run at.
Okay. So, sorry, you're putting the flaming sphere on the side with the
On the side of the orcs.
of your
And
pursuers.
I'll
Yep.
just have that moving around because obviously I can move that. So
Okay.
it looks scary.
So you're having it as you light the tree up, and you summon the flaming sphere, and are you actually making it dance in the sky, in the air, just above the tree, just a little bit
Making
above.
it look like there is some weird fire fairy waiting for them to get there.
Okay. And so are you going purely for intimidating them, or are you praying to Kasuth to aid you in
I'm-
this?
I'm praying to Kasuth because I'm using the flame to encourage him to come and.
Okay. Do me a religion check.
Oh, fuck it out.
Ooh, make it boy.
So, as you stand there behind are you stood on the log, on the tree trunk? You stood behind
I
it.
can't catch on fire anymore, can I?
I never said that you
Do I have
couldn't.
Fire resistance?
You don't.
In which case, I stood behind it.
Okay, so as you stand behind it and you're kind of waving your hand,
Foot head.
you stood upon this goat, waving your hand in the air in these kind of widening circles, this flaming sphere kind of spinning around and rising up, before kind of drifting and up and down, and
With a flaming, spinny thing at a festival.
essentially, yeah. And you're there and you're just still doing it, and just kind of round and round, and kind of muttering and praying under your breath, and beseeching Ksuf to lend you his strength in this. As you do so, and you can feel the ground starting to shake as this fairly large host of orcs with these strange, quite thin and lean-looking, but quite gangly, long-armed creatures lumbering at the front. The large ogre forms bringing up the rear. This large host of orcs approaches, and they see this burning trunk with your flaming orb above it. The strange figures at the front, as soon as they see the fire, they kind of start to recoil a little bit. There's a lot of hissing and a lot of they just outright stop. They're not coming any closer. And there's a lot of uncertainty amongst the ranks of the orcs themselves. And as a particularly large orc at the back begins calling out, barking orders, instructions, and it seems like the orcs are starting to kind of gather themselves and are preparing to move out again. And just the moment that you feel that a little spark of hope fading, that they're going to see through this, that it's not going to be enough, suddenly your flaming sphere explodes outwards, swelling in size, and it takes on a face as these large, kind of dark spots appear in it, too, creating these kind of slanted eyes, and then this large mouth opening up on the front of it. It's grinning mouth. As the flames ride around it, and this flaming sphere, as it begins to take the form of a large flaming face floating above you. The flames on the tree trunk kind of part slightly so that you can actually be seen by the orcs. Stood on the other side of it, it kind of creates these pillars to each side of you as you're stood there. To their view, wreathed with flames, and this large head, just flaming head above you, just begins to laugh deeply. And suddenly just little motes of fire exploding around. Not necessarily around you, just around the orcs, just near them, just little spots catching fire, just little pillars of flame spurting up, dying down again a little bit, yeah. But I think it's suitable.
So fucking cool.
And it's just the creatures at the front at this just immediately, just as the flames start spurting around them, just turn tail and just run. They're gone. They're just packing it away back towards the hills. The orc at the back, the orcs as they see this are starting to panic. They're just starting to break ranks, starting to mill around. Some of them starting to drift back. Some of them are looking to each other, looking back at who seems to be commander, this large orc, similar in size to the one that you captured, but not quite as big. Slightly more innately armed and armoured. He's there like barking instructions, but they don't seem to be listening to anymore. And little bit by bit, just little packs of the orcs just start bolting away until only a very few are left. A couple of the ogres stood there looking a bit confused. One of them kind of like finger at the corner of his mouth, just like
Yeah, boy.
And the lead orc, as all of you stopping to watch this occur, kind of marvelling at this display that Cal has somehow put on, and you kind of stopping at the crest of the hill, turning back to see what he's doing, and you all hear the orc barking out in common. That's a very nice trick, dwarf. Your illusions might be enough to scare off these yokels. I won't forget what you've done here.
Walk away.
Really?
So is that what you're saying to the orc?
Yeah.
Fine. You win this day. Keep the gold.
It's never yours in the first place.
I believe that might takes what they want.
You're right, son, it does. But we've got the fucking might here, so why don't you piss off?
At which point can I just launch the face of Kosu towards him?
Okay,
Not to hurt him, just to...
just move it a bit closer. As it kind of, as it begins to loom towards them, you do see some of the orcs flanking him do kind of start to panic and start to step back, and you can see a bit of muttering going on, all sorts. I'll grant you that. Might was on your side today. You got lucky.
No such thing as luck, son.
I'm going to remember you, half-breed. One day you and I will meet, and I'll have some real orc boys at my side. Orcs who understand discipline.
I
And
look
you're-
forward to it, sweetheart.
Your parlour tricks won't save you then. Go on then. Be off with you.
Politics might not save us, but this will. And I just sort of hold up the giant slayer.
And just kind of...
Braveheart moment.
Neil just spits on the ground next to him, just holds up a hand. We go. It's not worth it. They turn to leave. Well,
And in
Well,
a clap, the flame was gone.
Cal, you take 2 levels of exhaustion.
Yep,
Fucking
down with that. Down with that. Absolutely.
But you do as you collapse down onto Butthead. Sorry, got a track.
Fine, it's fine.
You
I'll
do
sort it
hear.
out.
Oh, where's Ramsey?
You do hear a familiar voice in your head, Cal. Well, that was interesting. You do amuse me so, Cal.
Had to be of service.
Because we're on mounts, will Cal's speed be affected getting back?
No. No, Butthead was
You're
not
always
exhausted by
rolling
this.
Because Oscar's on.
You might...
season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rory is light enough that he can double up with anyone without impeding their speed. You do notice, however, that while Butthead's speed is not affected... Sorry, go trick. Cal doesn't quite seem to be, you know... He's holding on to consciousness. Pardon, he's holding on to consciousness at this point. Having Rory there to actually help hold Cal onto Butthead and guide the goat might not be a bad idea.
Have a blanket, I can tie myself to Rory.
Okay,
And
so...
the goat, because let's face it, Rory will fall off if I tie myself to Rory.
Well, if you start falling off and you're tied onto Brewery, then yeah, you're just going to drag him off. It's great. No, 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 no! As you slowly start sliding off sideways.
Why don't you tie into me?
Yeah, I could jump on.
Okay.
Then again,
Yeah, like,
can the battle will take two of
oh.
us. Or could
I would
go
say,
over?
actually, no, Moonin...
Butthead, and then you can hold my waist.
Moonin would be able to take the weight of both of you. Moonin's
Yeah.
built for dragging up heavy loads.
What I'll do, if you get on the front and then if you fall back, obviously I can catch you.
Hey, I feel like this is a ghost moment. I'm on it. I am down. Let's get on that. Let's do this.
Okay, so with the immediate threat of pursuit gone, that was well handled, guys. Well, that's going to be interesting.
I'm sweating.
It's going to be interesting to see how you handle that. And it's like I'm loving the thing of setting you guys challenges and me not knowing how you're going to solve them. You know, just being like, yeah, you decide how you're going about this.
My head.
That's D&D, baby.
That is D&D.
Like,
It's a beautiful moment. Okay. So, you take the time to make sure that Cal is secured. You mount back up. Continue on your way back north towards Conyberry. You reckon you've got... You made quite good speed, obviously, with your mad dash across the hills. But for the sake of your mounts, you probably do need to take a steadier travel pace. You reckon you've probably got about another day's journey before you actually get back to Conyberry at this pace. Based on your journey to Ivantor, your current pace, you'd probably get back there midday-ish tomorrow. Obviously, you can just continue riding, steady pace, and we'll kind of fast forward to Conyberry, or if there's anything you want to do in the time while you're on your way back.
Sending a message
Yep.
to Sildar saying that we are on our way to Conyberry. Orc horde was on the move. They have been routed temporarily. Which direction did they flee in?
They fled back south towards the mountains.
Okay, saying that they fled south to the mountain of Wyvern.
Okay, so yeah, I'd say you're able to, with kind of little short, sharp sentences, you're able to break that down into a little 25-word summary. Get the message back. Gortrek, excellent news. I will await you in Conyberry. Good work on routing those orcs. We'll discuss further when you return. Look forward to seeing you.
He'll meet us in Conyberry. away we go.
Okay. So the rest of the day's travel is much without uneventful. You camp up for the night, once again inside Oscar's tent. You all share very terse, very tense watches, but you see no signs of any pursuit. Night passes, and you carry on, and at around noon the next day you crest the final hill and you're looking down onto the remains of Conyberry, no longer shrouded by thick plumes of smoke. Fires seem to go out. They seem to have gone out. It's still a bit of a cloudy, slightly dismal day, and you can see quite a few figures moving around down amongst the ruins. Many of them mounted, looking like armoured. And as you get closer, soldiers bearing the crest of Neverwinter on their shields and on a couple of pennants that you can see around. Riding in, you estimate there's probably in the region of 30 to 40 soldiers here. They seem to be setting up like a loose perimeter watch and patrolling back and forth. As you ride down the hill towards, start riding across the remains of the fields in towards the centre of the village, some of them do start riding up, kind of spears held at that like 45-degree angle, not quite down, not quite up. And then as they approach, one particular group approaches you. Oh, who goes there?
Aye, boys, we're passing through.
I don't know your face.
We're here to see Sildar. You should know that we're coming.
Ah. You are the group from Phandalin.
Yes, we are.
Very well. You'll find him in the centre of the village. Waves you on. As you do ride in, you do notice there's a small tent erected just a little away from the centre. Looks...
I don't go in.
No? Okay.
I go wherever Grishnak takes me.
You're on his back.
Kind of
He's wearing you like a little papoose.
Yeah, I am Grishnak's backpack.
Okay. So, Rory, you're not entering the tent.
I'm gonna leave Traxxas with Rory and then walk in.
Yeah.
I'll park Moomin outside the tent and untie the rope that's holding Callum, making sure that he's steady so he doesn't fall off me.
Okay.
And I'll help him off Moomin as well. Sort of just like guiding him onto the tent.
So, Cal's, you're doing a lot better now, Cal. Obviously, after the previous night's rest, after your ordeal, you're only down to 1 level of exhaustion. So you're not too bad.
So now I'm just like real life tired, not fantasy tired.
Essentially, yeah. So all of you save Rory entering the tent?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Rory, are you waiting outside, or is there something else you wanted to be
As soon
doing?
as they were going, he was going to sneak off. I guess.
Okay.
Give Taraxa thumbs up to them.
Okay, so as soon as they're in the tent, you kind of give Traxxas this awkward thumbs up and start to walk off up the northern road. And Traxxas kind of like his head just follows you as you head up. And Rogar, you do get a little voice in your head as you're entering the tent. The skinny one is leaving.
Keep a watch, keep an eye on him, make sure he's safe. Don't
You...
follow too close.
Okay. Not exactly subtle. So, as you enter the tent, you see it's fairly simple. There's a simple little cot in the corner, and set up in the centre is a medium-sized kind of trestle table type thing. Sildar is stood over it. It's got a map of the area, not too dissimilar from the one that you're looking at the moment. You are on the right page. Yep. and there's a couple of soldiers stood opposite opposite him on the other side of the table. And there's a lot of kind of low discussion and pointing at different parts of the map. He looks up as you enter. Ah, you made it. I am glad to see you. So, tell me, what occurred? How did you learn of all of this? I stopped in Phandalin on the way here. I hoped to warn you of what we had learned, but I was told that you had already left. I assumed that you'd already gotten wind of it, and indeed here you are. Pray tell, what has occurred from your end?
Well, we came here a few days ago now, and we saw what happened. We followed the people that did this into the Sword Mountains, and we killed the raiding party. But there's a lot more up there, well, down there.
How many would you say?
80.
Very well. Just the Sword Mountains. That makes sense. We assume they must have been striking from somewhere nearby.
They're trying to get back to Highmore, from what I've gathered.
Okay, do you believe they'll be leaving soon?
Probably. We only stand back for a bit. But they could be coming this way. Or, even worse, they might even try getting through Phandalin first. So we need to be on our guard for that.
Unlikely. Your humble little village has already repelled such an attack.
Wait, what?
They've already attacked Phandalin.
They attempted to. Don't worry. Everyone's fine.
What about the mine?
No reports of any attack there either.
Okay, excuse me for a second. Gotrik's gonna head outside and he's gonna cast Sending to his cousin,
Okay.
Gundren, and be like, cousin, how's the mine? Are you safe? But we carry on with the other stuff first if you want.
Okay. Well, no, you do quickly get response back. Oh, Godric. Yes, no, we did. Shut up.
Forgotten the voice for a second.
My faux Welsh accent. Yes, we did see some orcs moving around the mountains. They were definitely spying us out, but no, we didn't have any problems from them. Everyone's fine here. I think the walls put them off. That and your rather mean-looking friends. That's all you get.
I'm just gonna stroll back in the tent.
You stroll back in, and Sildar is still kind of in the middle of just reassuring you guys. No, when I stopped by Phandalin and, well, was looking for yourselves, and I talked briefly with one of your men, Rogar. Teldor, I believe his name was. He did explain that they had spotted some scouting parties moving around in the foothills to the south of Phandalin. A couple of them had approached nearby, gotten relatively close to the wall, but a couple of volleys of arrows seemed to see them off. I don't think they fancied such a hardened target as Phandalin. He does kind of nod to Oscar. That wall of yours seemed to do the trick.
Yeah, good thinking on the wall, Oscar.
The warband that we believe is responsible for the damage here. From what we can ascertain, let me take you back to the start. We received, by which I mean Lord Nevermember's court wizard received a message from his counterpart in Tribor a few days ago. An orc warband had attempted an attack there, but they had quickly roused their their cavalry militia. That had dissuaded the orcs from actually attacking Tribor itself. Instead, they settled with attacking a couple of the caravans on the road between Tribor and Conyberry. It seems then that their attention fell here. And now Conyberry is no more. Leylon has also been hit. They took some casualties while they were able to fend off the orcs. Quite a bit of wealth was stolen.
Are there any other reports of this kind of activity?
We're still gathering information, but that seems to be... I hopefully should have riders returning from Red Larch and Westbridge on the long road. Hopefully within the next couple of days, and we should find what has become of them. I fear the worst, but...
Well, I think I can explain this rather strange pattern of behaviour for orcs.
Well, I mean, orc raiders are not uncommon, but this does seem particularly bold and organised.
I think everyone needs to sit down. And then I'll, just to save time, I'll explain everything again. Basically, that happened.
Okay, so everything that you learned from
Yeah,
your
everything I learned,
captive, do you share what you were told in your vision?
I do, yes. Even though I know they might be a bit sceptical of it.
I will back up Grishnak with kind of that it kind of makes sense that they're gathering treasure and things. It's a very dragon-y thing to do.
Okay. Grishnak, do you tell them how you came by all of that information, or do you just tell them about the captive?
That Grumsh told me, or just...
Yeah, do you
What?
tell them that Grimsh told you?
I'll no, I'll say I had a vision for now, and then
Got a DM from Grimsh.
yeah. Obviously, I trust Rogar in knowing that it was Grumsh, but I
Okay.
don't know how other people would judge
Hmm.
the fact that a traditionally evil deity has been giving me some information.
Okay. So Sildar seems to consider this for a while. You will forgive me, Grishnak. I'm not normally one to put an enormous amount of stock in visions, but what you're telling me does seem borne out by their actions. He doesn't seem to react with all that much surprise when you mention Tiamat. As he kind of nods and looks concerned.
Do I notice the lack of reaction?
Yeah, you would. Yeah. This is definitely troubling indeed. And you said that this Kalgarak is supposedly heading south from the High Moor.
Apparently so, yes.
And we need to cast our net further. We need to be liaising with our contacts down in Baldur's Gate. See what they can learn. Maybe they've had similar experiences.
Well, from what I've gathered, the forces that he's amassing, he could probably even attack Baldur's Gate.
Maybe so. If this information is accurate, if he truly has amassed such a horde, the last time orcs mobilized in this number was, well, that would have been the Many Arrows tribe. But if what you're saying is true, then this could dwarf even that force. Pardon the expression, Gotrek, I'm sorry. Indeed.
Yeah, I pull out the many arrows dagger.
The dead sun.
Oh, is it dead sun?
It was the dead sun that you
I
found,
was
yeah.
like, gotcha, spit and go, what?
Yeah, sorry, dead sun, and just to show Sildar that he is obviously absorbing these bands.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not at all familiar with the tribes of Highmore. I take your word for it, Grishnak, I do. I have some contacts I'll need to speak with. What we need now more than anything is information.
Not to be blunt, Sildar, but you don't seem all that bothered about the fact that I've just mentioned that Tiamat could potentially be coming back.
He nods to the two guards, gestures, and they leave the tent. What I'm about to tell you can't leave this tent. Are you familiar with the cult of the dragon?
I look to Rogar because it seems like it's something he might know about.
Would I know that?
You do. Can you just do me a quick history check to just see how much you know about that? Okay. You know that there has long been a cult in Faerun as a whole, really. Their pockets of activity, it kind of varies from time to time. They are particularly concerned, they venerate dragons. They are particularly concerned with the creation and worship of Draco liches, which is to say, essentially a dragon lich. Yeah, they tend not to operate as far north as Icewind Dale, but anywhere where chromatic dragons can be found, you tend to find a small presence of the dragon cult, often trying to beseech and impress said dragons.
Are they're more of a nuisance rather than like a threat then?
Generally speaking, yes. Yeah. There's been times when they've been cracked, where various nations or city-states have cracked down on presence of the dragon cult. They tend not to mobilise quite so openly. They like to operate in the shadows. And if whenever the people have thought to weed them out, they do seem to pop up elsewhere. But it's about the extent of what you know.
And I just nod and be like, yes, I know of them.
Our agents have been monitoring increased activity along the Sword Coast in the last couple of years. We've been unable to ascertain exactly what they're up to. Those that we have intercepted have been very tight-lipped and said little. But their missives, the messages they carry to each other, no longer bear the traditional symbol of the dragon cult. Instead, they bear the five-horned dragon head of Tiamat as their symbol. As to what part Tiamat plays in their plans, I could not say. We are still trying to get to the bottom of that. But this is not the first time in recent months that I've heard the name come up.
a knowledge question.
Mm-hmm.
What does Rogar know about Tiamat?
Gould. You know that. What would you know? So obviously you know the basic. You know the basic. She is.
Bad.
She's very bad. She is dragon goddess of greed. She is the queen of chromatic dragons.
All that good stuff.
Yep, you know she's the sister of Bahamut. Can you do me another history check?
Yes, I can.
Oh,
24.
yeah.
okay. You know that at some point in her past, she was essentially banished to the plane of Avernus, which is one of the layers of the Nine Hells, and she's remained there since, where she has attempted to influence things from remotely.
She's working from home, basically.
Yeah. You know that she's arrogant, she's greedy, she is hateful, she's all of the negative qualities of the chromatic dragons turned up to 11.
Yeah.
She is absolutely vengeful. You know, she knows about holding grudges. She's focused solely on the obtaining of power and wealth. She has total disdain for mortals. She sees them as simply disposable tools. She can put on the facade of being charming when she needs to, but her true personality always shines through in the long run.
So,
She has. You also know that she has an absolutely insatiable greed for treasure, but she prefers her followers to bring it to her as gifts instead of actually having to go out and acquire them herself. So I'm just quickly checking my notes. Saying anything else that you might know. Yeah, I'd say that's. Actually, there is something else which I'm going to send you as a message on Discord because,
exciting.
yeah, and then it's up to you how much you share.
Okay. I think, yeah, Rogar's now putting things together. What's that meme of, like, Zach Galifianakis in the casino with all the formulas in front of his face? Like,
Oh yeah, like Sylvia Pezzo.
yes, yeah. So I'll just before
Oh, I almost sent that in the main chat.
Spicy. Yeah, that's the one. But instead of formulas, it's just little pictures of dragons. So yeah, he's kind of trying to put two and two together. I'll hang fire. You can see your little dots moving. Oh, I'm so excited. Ah. Okay. All right. Cool.
That might be relevant.
Cool. Sweet. Okay. So, after having a little think, Rogar, I think I know what the cult may be up to. I think they are. Grishnak, you said that this warband has a new. They worship her. Yes.
Well, my source tell me that they're getting their power. Well, that Garrick is getting his power from her.
And they're gathering treasure, like the stash that we found.
I'm assuming so, yeah. I mean, dragons, not to generalise, but from what I've heard, dragons do like treasure.
No, you are correct. I think they mean to free Tiamat from her prison, or at least offer her treasure for some kind of reward, or it's the Grishnak, what I told you about that I didn't. I mentioned it, I did not tell you, but the breaking against chains, the darkness, the
prison. You don't think it could be her prison then?
It could be. This seems logical.
Sildar seems very deep in thought, quite concerned. I respect you all. And I do not disregard your intuition. I mean, no offense, but I will need... I can't report to Lord Nevermember with visions. We will need to do more gathering of intelligence. But I think it, from what you're telling me, it seems like this Garak might be working with the dragon cult. The behavior certainly lines up from what you're saying.
Yes.
Well, is there a way to perhaps get some evidence from the dragon cult?
Maybe. But you'd have to find some of them first. It takes a lot of effort and work for us simply to track down one of their agents. They're very good at covering their tracks. They do not operate in the open.
I just sort of whisper to Rogar, do you think there's any way we could contact Spoons? He might have an idea about things.
Yeah, potentially. I also could have some people who I could contact in regard to this. I haven't made a note on it, Django. The riders that came into town.
Yes.
Where did I got a piece of paper with where they were going, but I haven't written it down.
I think I'm now off the top of my head. I'm quickly going to check to make sure I get this right. Where was that temple? I want to say temple is in Waterdeep that they went back to. Fuck, where did I put that note? Temples
I
of
guess for now,
Waterdeep.
I have people I could potentially
Temple. Yes, so it's not so much a temple to Bahamut, but there is a chapter house of the Platinum Order in Waterdeep. And that's where they told you they were going back to.
Okay. I could potentially contact them and see if they can help in any way or have any information for us. We need to head back to Fandlin and regroup.
Yes, I think you've all earned your rest.
We need to prepare as well.
Prepare.
For whatever comes next.
Well, yes, of course. Well, you've done another great service in helping protect this region. You have my thanks, and I will definitely pass your deeds on to Lord Nevermember. He will be grateful. And
I need to find Rory.
Yes, where is Rory? You get this little voice in your head. He's still walking.
Silda, it's been a pleasure to see you again. Hopefully we'll see you again in Fandlin soon.
Yes, when time allows. I'm afraid I will have to make... And there's little more for us to learn here. We need to head back to Neverwinter and report on what you've told us. We need to get in contact with members of the Lord's Alliance further south. I may be in touch again soon. But for now, go, rest. You've earned it. I have a lot to consider. He starts packing up, rolling up the map and stowing it in his these saddlebags that he's got hanging off a chair next to the table. Is there anything else anyone want to discuss with Silda, or we will jump over to Rory quickly?
Let's go for Rory.
Yeah. So Rory, I assume I think I know where you're heading.
Yep, you know.
You do realise, kind of as you're getting into the woods, that there is a large silver wyvern following you.
Oh. I'll look up at him and debate saying something, but I don't say anything, I just keep walking.
You get a little voice. I think he saw me. Okay, so you carry on for a while. Traxi also actually reports that Rory went into the woods and he's not able to follow him there. The trees quickly become too dense. So, you make your way along the somewhat now familiar path, eventually finding yourself amongst those old elven ruins. And you make your way into the remains of the tower. It's currently empty.
I'm back. Agatha, she's safe.
Cold wind picks up, and you feel that presence behind you. You see the strange, slightly disconcerting form of Agatha. It's that odd kind of graceful elven form, but with the somewhat almost skeletal face that regards you solemnly.
Abigail's safe.
She has a home again?
If she doesn't by now, she will as soon as we get back. She's safe and she's cared for, and I'll make sure that continues to go on.
She is all that remains.
Not for long. We have plans to help the land. It won't fix what has happened, but Conyberry will live on. We've already gone after some of the people that did this, and pretty soon we're going after the man at the top.
This is good. kind of drifts closer to you and reaches out this slightly ethereal hand. Its 2 fingers just gently touch your temple. You feel this cold shock shoot through your body. Step carefully, Rory Waters. There's great danger in your future.
Do you know, you're the second person that's told me that.
I see death. I see a lot of death.
Unfortunately, I see death all the I'm sorry to do it at a moment like this, but we're heading to the mountains. I don't know when I'll be back. When I first met you, you said that if I played you a song, I could ask you a question.
I did.
Is that still the case?
Always.
I won't play the song because we're out of time, but Rory plays
Yeah.
a song called "The Work of the Woodcutter," which is about Myrna's husband.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So as you play and she does, she kind of sways gently. Her face, which normally has this kind of half, half decayed appearance, for a moment almost takes on, more living features seem to return as the song plays. She kind of looks wistfully as the last notes fade. That was truly beautiful, Rory. It reminds me of what it is to be alive, to feel. Ask, then, and I will answer, if I can.
Where is he? Where is Razzle?
The orbs, essentially, that you would call her eyes, go black, jet black. For a moment, there's silence, and she lets out a gasp. I cannot see him. He is shrouded by a veil.
He's been abjured.
He is shrouded by a veil of death.
But he's alive.
I think so. It is quite unlike anything I have seen before.
Yeah, well, Raz is unlike anything I've ever seen. I don't know what else you know about him or about me, but you should be aware that my first concern will always be that he's alive and that he is healthy, and then everything else comes after.
I believe he is alive. I cannot speak for his health. And while I cannot give you a place, I feel the essence that shrouds him emanates from the south.
Well, luckily, that's where I'm heading. Thank you, Agatha.
I'm sorry I could not tell you more.
It's okay. It's more than I've had in the past 2 years of trying to find him. So, thank you.
Her eyes are still the jet black, and she's kind of holding her hand up somewhat before her face, kind of moving this way and that. I sense sorrow and regret. You should know that what he did pained him so greatly that it has left a mark in the world.
Well, that I don't know what I'm going to do, but that is the best news I've heard in a while. Honestly, truly, from everything that I have. Thank you, Agatha.
Thank you. Raise the girl well.
We will.
She fades and is gone.
Trax? Oh, wait. I'll go and try and find Trax.
Okay, so as you leave the woods, and you do find he's... As you leave the tree line, it's Conyberry, a little bit of a dot in the distance along that road. And you look around, it's not hard to spot a silver wyvern trying so damn hard to hide behind a tree.
I'll stand on my tippy toes and put my hand up to my eyes like I'm searching for him. And then I go, Taraxis! I'll start running up. See if he comes out.
Kind of head comes out. Like, he's trying to hide behind the tree. Basically, he's got his whole back half sticking out from one side. And then he's got like the long neck sticking out from the other, just kind of watching you. Kind of regards you.
I don't know if he speaks Draconic, but I'll say it in Draconic anyway. I'll ask him for a lift.
Okay. Hang on, I need to check something really quickly. Pretty sure he does, actually. Don't see why he wouldn't. Yeah, I'm going to say that he does. Kind of looks, recoils in surprise for a second. You speak the dragon tongue.
I do.
So, what do you want? I wasn't following you.
If you're going to ask, no, I didn't come out of an alley.
I wasn't, but now I'm thinking about it. I let you in on a secret. Neither did I.
See, Taraxis, you and me, we're the same.
We do have a lot in common, you're right. So what do you want?
Can you take me to Rogar?
Seems to think for a minute. I mean, I suppose I got to go back to him, yes. I don't think he'd mind.
Thank you.
But I wasn't supposed to let you see me.
Oh, I can close my eyes.
That could work. So you kind of close your eyes and fumble your way onto the back of Taraxis, then kind of lazily takes off and begins back towards Conyberry, and riding on him, it doesn't take long at all. You get back and you see essentially the camp being struck, soldiers beginning to gather up, mount up, ready to leave. And I assume the rest of you preparing to return to Phandalin?
Yep.
I think Rogar's stopped off and he's trying to look for Traxis and Rogar. Rory.
So you spot this form on the horizon, flying in, you recognise that. It's close, you see Rory riding atop his back.
Well, I'll be damned.
Hail!
Rogar, I thought this would be okay. He's flown on me before.
You seem to have made a friend.
He didn't look.
You didn't look. That was like following that. Look, okay, thank you. Rory,
Yes.
we need to talk.
Okay. Sort of slide down to Ax's back.
I'm aware of the time. So
We can do if you'd like. Yeah, I know, Cal, you need to get off short. I mean, I had only a couple more things that I wanted to cover in a session that should take us only a few minutes. Yeah, it's up to you guys. But yeah, if you wanted to have a quick conversation with Rory before setting off, then I think that's okay.
yeah, I'll kind of gesture to be like, let's go somewhere a bit more private.
Okay. Like behind a tree, and I look at Taraxis.
It's okay, Taraxis, you can stay here.
I tried the tree earlier, it wasn't very useful.
Yes, I think you need to work on your hiding.
It doesn't come up often.
So, Rory,
Hmm.
there's some news about the orcs. Grishnak had a vision, and it seems that the orcs now follow, or at least in some way get their power from Tiamat.
As in
As in,
the Tiamat.
yes. Now, I didn't tell you before. I had a vision.
Everyone's having vision.
Yes.
It's what happens when everyone has a connection with a god. Sorry.
It was not from Lendis. It was from Bahamut. He showed me, I believe he showed me Tiamat's prison when I was praying and asking for guidance on your issue with your Dragonborn friend. He showed me the prison, and he told me that everything was connected. I have not been able to get any more information about, I kind of swallow, it's hard to say, Null. Where I am from, I mean, across many people who know dragon culture, they know that Tiamat is commonly known as the sister of Bahamut. Where I am from is very traditional, old worshippings. Where I am from, Tiamat is the sister of Null.
So you're saying that they're all siblings?
This is all connected, Rory. This cannot be coincidence. Your friend, my visions, Krishnak's visions. There is a large plot afoot.
Good news as well. Alright. Where do we start?
Let's go back to the others.
Yes, of course.
So, regrouping. You prepare to ride out. Sildar offers travel together as you return to Phandalin. So the couple of days journey is quite eventful. There's not a single bandit or hill giant out there who's going to mess with a column of 30 odd soldiers as well as a band of adventurers. Without incident, you reach the crossroads, or the junction, where the tribal trail splits off, the road south to Phandalin. You bid your farewells to Sildai, promises he'll be in touch as they continue on to Neverwinter. You return home. Riding into Phandalin, you're greeted by something of a commotion. Not too much, but as you ride in, as the gate guards call out, you ride into the village square. A lot of the villagers are gathering round. They look concerned. They're not stampeding you, they're not panicking, but you can tell that there's, with all the events that have happened recently, they've got some questions. There is a look of worry on a lot of people's faces as Teldor approaches you, Rogar, and gives you a nod and quickly briefs you on this, the orc scouts that they spotted and that they chased off, and imparts upon you that tension is high. People are worried. People are scared. They might need reassuring. There's a bit of a crowd forming around you. Rory, as everyone gathers around, as you see Rogar deep in conversation with Teldor and a couple of the high-ranking Talons, there's Grishnak and Gortrek and Cal kind of pulling close to listen to, as they start to mutter among themselves. You feel a gentle tug on your elbow. As you half turn, stood amongst the crowd, with being fairly inconspicuous despite their appearance, there is a familiar tabaxi.
Hello, Rory. We need to talk.
What?
Yes.
I hug him.
And that is where we will end tonight.
Oh!